Hello and happy Mercury retrograde, although I don't know if it really is a happy thing and if that's how I should be introducing this. My name is Leanne Kalal, and today I am here with the fabulous astrologer Kelli Fox of astrology.tv, and we're moving into Mercury retrograde. And I'm guessing you've heard a thing or two. I'm guessing the phrase Mercury retrograde is something that you've heard before. You might you might know that it typically means like doom and gloom, or there's going to be some more trickster energy going on and a lot of unexpected things. So I'm so excited to be here with you today, Kelli, to actually learn more about what does it mean when Mercury is retrograde, and how can we get ahead of Mercury, and how can we survive these times, and especially with the sun signs? What are some tips for all of us, for all of the sun signs out there, on how we can move forward with ease and grace and make the most of this time, because it happens on a regular basis.
Hi, Leanne, and it seems like too regular.
Yes, too regular.
So, yeah.
It's like, what? Mercury is retrograde again? How did that happen?
I know, right? So it happens about 3 to 4 times a year, typically 3 times a year, for 3 weeks each time. But that's the exact Mercury retrograde. But we also have something called the shadow of Mercury retrograde, and what that means is it's the period building up to the Mercury retrograde, and then after, like, the waning period, it's the sort of building down of it. So we could sort of say like a week before, week after, we're still in the effects of Mercury retrograde. So even though it's 3 weeks, maybe we could say 5 weeks, and it will really depend on where that falls in your natal birth chart. And so this Mercury retrograde is in Cancer. And what that means is you've got Mercury, which is planet of the mind, communication, the intellect, thought processes. It's very cerebral, and it's coming together with Cancer, a sign that it's not comfortable with, because Cancer is a sign of emotions and feelings. It's most certainly a water sign, so it's very it's instinctual. So that sort of goes against Mercury, which is very logical.
Interesting. Well, and I have a quick question for you. And this is a little off topic, but it's on my mind, and I just need to ask, is part of Mercury retrograde time warping? Like, you feel like time is either moving really, really fast or moving really, really slow? Like, does it have anything to do with that?
Time is ruled by Saturn. But because there's so much going on at this time, that's why we're doing this event tomorrow and Friday. So there's so much to talk about that. Yes, I feel like I'm in a time warp as well. And you know what? I'd love to know if anyone else has that feeling.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. So Saturn is father or lord of time. Because it also rules karma. And so that's why we can sort of blame everything on Saturn and Mercury retrograde on top of it. Mercury is the fastest moving planet around the sun. So that would fall into that sort of, lightning speed sort of feeling that so many of us are feeling at this time. But yes, so with Mercury, Mercury's turning retrograde, and I'm going to be exact here because I've got my handy little calendar. Mercury is turning retrograde tonight at 9:59 p.m. Pacific, which means, Eastern, it's, early tomorrow morning. And it will be retrograde all the way through, and I'm just checking my ephemeris.
Yeah.
It will be retrograde all the way through the 12th, July 12th. That's when Mercury will turn direct. But, just remember what I said, the shadow after Mercury, give it a week or so. And then, of course, we're going to have a supercharged new moon after that. It just goes on and on. So what I want to talk about is what it means, Mercury, this particular Mercury retrograde, and it being in Cancer, and then what it means for all the zodiac signs and how we can prepare and get ready for the upcoming Mercury retrograde. So Mercury, as I said, Mercury is the planet of thought processes. It's the intellect, and Cancer is the sign of emotions. It's a water sign. The other water signs being Scorpio and Pisces. And so, you know, what it means when Mercury turns retrograde, it's a period to take stock of recent events. It allows us to slow down and reflect. So the rule that astrologers use for a retrograde, and especially a Mercury retrograde, is anything that starts with RE. So what I mean by that is, you know, recycle, renew, review, reclaim. Anything that starts with RE is a great use of a Mercury retrograde period, or any inner planet period, and that's Mercury, Venus, and Mars, all of which we have this year, which is sort of unusual as well to have, you know, the three inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, turning retrograde. So this is definitely a year that nobody really had anticipated, and it's a time of reflection, and it's a time of reviewing the past, because a retrograde of any planet does mean looking back at the past and seeing what worked and what didn't work, and how we can bring those things into our current situation. So that's a really, really good use of a Mercury retrograde period. And the other thing is, with Mercury retrograde, is something that was said in the past will come back during this time. So something either we said or somebody else has said will come back again, and it's something that we need to deal with. So, you know, with regards to, we've got love planet Venus retrograde right now and Mercury retrograde. So it's like in a relationship, it's something that we may have said to our partner that will come back, that we have to deal with, and we have to not just keep sweeping under the rug. And I feel like, Leanne, each week that we've done these events, all I'm talking about is don't sweep things under the rug, because we've had so many retrograde planets that I feel like that's all I'm talking about is, you know, deal with the stuff that we sweep under the carpet or under the rug. And now it's time to sort of talk about it, because Mercury is retrograde right now.
Well,
So this,
I know for me, listening to this, I'm seeing patterns, and it really is like not a time to sweep things under the rug. And I just love the general rule of thumb, RE. Like, it reminds me of growing up, like the reduce, reuse, recycle campaigns. There needs to be a campaign for Mercury.
oh my goodness, that is a great idea. That's a really, really good idea.
It's like reminding us of the tools and really how to make the most of this time, because it's happening. We can't control it. And so how can we get on board and make the most of it? And that's what I love about all of the tips that you share. And this is another like slight side note. I want to know, everyone who's listening, if you have heard from an ex recently, or if there have been these like random unexpected relationship things pop up, just say, I don't know, put a funny emoji in, or say, yeah, Venus retrograde is also at work. So, because it's just so interesting to see how what happens in our life truly does coincide with what's going on up there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I like that idea. I would love to hear if people have been contacted by exes, or even old friends. As I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, even before the shadow of Mercury retrograde, I had been contacted by a couple of old friends of mine. So I was like, wow, 2 in the same day. So anyway, so what is the significance of Mercury retrograde in Cancer? So that's what's happening tonight, exact. But I mean, of course, it's happening now. And so what that means is that during this time, you know, we might find over the next few weeks that people are really motivated for self-protection. Because if you think about the symbol of Cancer, it's the crab. And so, you know, soft and mushy on the inside, but really hard shell on the outside. And so the symbolism of that is that we have a hard external, a hard exterior, and then we're protecting our soft side, you know, inside. So that's the symbolism for this Mercury retrograde in Cancer. So it's like we might be putting up barriers to protect ourselves. We might mishear, or others might misunderstand what we're saying. And so we're going to be caught up emotionally with emotional responses because Mercury is retrograde in Cancer. So, you know, normally Mercury, as I said, is very intellectual, and so emotions not typically involved with Mercury, but this time it is, which makes it even more supercharged, and even more so because, you know, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about Sun in Cancer for the next few weeks, and then Friday, of course, the solar eclipse and solstice on the same day. So this weekend, it's all happening. So, so what that means is there's a lot of emotion in our responses, more than usual at this time. And so it's not necessarily a negative, and that's what I get asked a lot. You know, is it good or is it bad? It just is. You know, it is what it is what have found myself saying a lot of times, particularly this year as well. So it's like it's important for us to try and use facts and figures and logic and reasoning over the next few weeks when we respond or communicate in such a way that, you know, we're dealing with stuff from the past. And if we can just take a step back before responding. I know it's hard to do sometimes because, you know, when we're in the moment, especially when we're so emotionally charged, that, you know, we're just going to shoot from the hip, or we're just going to respond, which, you know, later on we may regret, or we might find that we have to deal with it later on, whatever we say at this time. So, you know, really the best use of a Mercury retrograde period, especially in Cancer, is, you know, it's a period for honest self-appraisal. You know, the Cancer energy is really shrewd. It's really perceptive. It's very savvy, and it's very canny. So, you know, it's like, but just be aware that there could be some discerning in our judgment of situations and of other people and our responses to that. So, you know, it's important to internal or look within rather than sort of, you know, spewing those emotions out, you know, like a volcano. It's sort of like, it's a time to sort of reevaluate, there's an RE word, reevaluate our own processes, our own thoughts, our own responses. You know, this is a time really to look within, think again about the symbology, you know, the hard shell, and, you know, the real us is on the inside. And so that's a time to sort of self-reflect. It's also a great time for self-care and self-compassion because, you know, Cancer is a very, very caring and compassionate sign. It's the caretaker of the zodiac. You know, Cancer is the mother hen of the zodiac. Cancer really looks after everybody else in their clan. And so now is the time for Cancer, and all of us, but to look after ourselves. And so, you know, Cancer is very kind, it's very sympathetic. So again, it's more about think for all of us, think about ourselves more kindly and compassionately. Focus on ourselves instead of focusing on others.
So I just took notes. I've got my notebook out now, and I'm starting to write my notes. And I know a couple of my dear friends are Cancers.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be sharing this video with them. If you're watching this and you have any Cancer friends, take them in the comments or share this video with them. And even if they're not Cancers, spread the word, because it's already an intense year and things are probably going to heat up in maybe some unexpected, tricky ways in the next few weeks. So let's all just take care of each other and do what we can and spread this. Let's have self-compassion and compassion for others as well and love for others as well, and then practice it for ourselves. So share and comment and tag people in here.
Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about what this Mercury retrograde period means for each of the zodiac signs. So, and especially pay attention if you're a cardinal sign, and that is Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, because this Mercury retrograde in Cancer's a cardinal sign. It will be affecting the cardinal signs, or people that have planets in cardinal signs more so, and that includes rising or ascendant sign if you know it. So, if you're an Aries, what to expect when this Mercury retrograde period over the next 3 weeks and how it will be affecting you. So it's like, don't be surprised if you're drawn to genealogy or ancestry, or, you know, even 23andMe, you know, that sort of thing. It's like, it's an exploration of your roots. And that's really a good way to use this type of energy. It's like finding out more about your distant past can really help you feel more secure and grounded, you know, at this current time. So it's a really good time for you, Aries, to indulge your memories of childhood, get back in touch with old school friends, revisit old haunts, of course, online, and then, you know, focus on joyful memories is really the best way to do that. And if you're a Taurus, so for you, the focus for this Mercury retrograde period is about communication. Taurus more so than most of the other signs. So, you know, this influence will impact your communication zone, or anybody that has Taurus rising. So, you know, during the next few weeks, you might be feeling tongue-tied or unable to get your point across, or you know, you might feel that people are distorting your words in some way. And for you, Taurus, be really, really careful with social media during the next few weeks. So the way to make the best use of this energy is to express yourself in ways that can't be misconstrued. So always seek clarification that others have understood what you're saying to them and you understand what is being said to you. And if that's in writing, if that's repeating it back, or whatever it is. So, you know, again, the rule for Mercury retrograde or any planet in retrograde is to sort of give us a bit of a reprieve. And there's another RE word, Leanne. Give us a reprieve, take a step back. And so for Taurus, this is the message more so. For Gemini, so with Gemini, your ruling planet is Mercury. So, you know, a lot of astrologers think that when your ruling planet goes retrograde, it affects you more so regardless of what sign the retrograde is in. So this particular Mercury retrograde will affect money and possessions, or your values zone. So Gemini, don't be surprised if you find yourself questioning your own opinions, which Gemini does. Gemini's an intellectual air sign, and Gemini has a brilliant mind, very quick, clever, witty, funny. So for you, Gemini, it's about, you know, maybe this is not the time to take your worldview for granted. You know, this might be a time where what's coming up for you, especially with the other influences going on at this time, is to really get to the bottom of what's important to you and what do you value the most. You know, what is of value to you, and it doesn't necessarily have to mean you know, a fast car, or you know what I mean. It's like the things that are the most valuable to you will actually be more prominent at this time. So if you're a Cancer, well, of course, this Mercury retrograde period is in your sign. So this is about your identity, and it's how you think others hear or see you might change and shift. And of course, you know, with the solar eclipse also in your sign, Cancer, there's a lot of changes and a lot of shifts for you. So this could be, you know, be careful not to get too sensitive or oversensitive if people don't understand you or people misrepresent you in some way. Don't take it personally, and just know that this would be a time to review your own form of communications and how you get your message across. So this is a time for review with regards to that. Now, if you're a Leo, so what's happening for you is that it's time to tune into a higher source or something that's bigger than you. This is a time to, over the next few weeks, pay attention to the dreams that you're having, Leo, because what that is, it's giving you messages. There's something higher that will be giving Leo messages. It's also a time for, if it's meditation or visualization or prayer, whatever that might be for you, this is a time to really tune into something bigger, because this is an opportunity to look to something that's worked for you from the past to help you manifest what you want for the future. Now, Virgo, for you, this is about friendships and networks. So there could be some people, this is a time to review who is actually in your life and who is draining your energy, or who is tapping you out or maxing you out too much. So for Virgo, this is a time to really review who you're connected with, and that's online, offline, whatever that may be. And so it's time, it's a reprieve to sort of take a step back for Virgo and really look to see who really brings you up and who really brings you down, and then move beyond and the situations that are no longer working for you. And it's important that you make discerning decisions at this time on who you spend your time with going forward, and don't give away your energy. I don't know, Leanne, if you've heard of the term energy vampires. That's sort of what I'm getting at with Virgo. So it's a time to really review that.
Noted. I'll share with my Virgo friends. I've got a lot of them as well.
Okay. So if you're a Libra, so for Libra, what's happening at this time is this is a focus on career aspirations. This is a focus for the Mercury retrograde period over the next few weeks for Libra. It's a time of be very careful with communication with the boss, with your work colleagues. And it's like, think about what you want for the long term, and don't sort of give up or feel like you're completely out of control because nobody understands what you're saying. The lesson here is to learn to value yourself in a work setting, or what you want from your career. I know things have been a bit up in the air for everybody this year about, making long-term plans and whatever else, but it's okay to have those goals regardless if they can't come about this year, but definitely, have those goals, and for Libra, have your personal identity be separate from who you are in your career life. So it's important to have those different segmentations. Now, if you're a Scorpio, for you, Scorpio, this is a period that's not so bad overall, because this Mercury retrograde is in a fellow water sign. So the water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So this for Scorpio is about seeking internal wisdom, about reviewing how you're a lifelong student. We all are, but really bringing that into consciousness. And that's, and I'm saying formally or informally, we're all lifelong students. It's just, are we operating consciously or unconsciously about what we're learning through life? Because, we're here for, all of us are here for a purpose, and we're here to evolve. And we're here, think about like the game of life. We're here to move on to the next level, but we can't do that until we learn our lessons first. That's basically what it is. And so Scorpio is one of the signs that really understands that and really gets that. So this Mercury retrograde period really gives Scorpio an opportunity to sort of remember that and to trust your own intuition. Scorpio is extremely perceptive. And so it's at this time, it's really a quest for knowledge, but make it a conscious quest rather than a subconscious quest. And so for Sagittarius, also sort of similar for Sag at this time, this is about transformation. And of course, 2020 is a year of transformation for all of us. Some of us, of course, more than others, depending on our own natal chart or birth chart. But for Sagittarius, this is a really important time for forgiveness. I know nobody was expecting me to say that, but it's like transformation and forgiveness go hand in hand. And so this is a time to let go of those things for Sagittarius that are no longer serving you. It's a time to, and Sagittarius is one of the signs that really can do that a lot better than most other signs. So this is a time to seek to forgive those who have hurt you. And from the past, I have to add in that little bit, of course, from the past. So it's a time to, seek that forgiveness and just move on and let those things go that are no longer working for you. Capricorn, for you, this is an interesting period for Capricorn, because this Mercury retrograde period, you're one of the signs that it will be affecting more so, or people that have planets in Capricorn. So what the lesson here is for this Mercury retrograde is to listen. So for all of us, of course, but Capricorn, listen, really pay attention to what, especially your partner, or if you're single, your best friend or work colleague or boss or whatever, those people that you're closest to, this is a time for Capricorn over the next few weeks to really, really listen. Now, what's going to happen with Capricorn is July 4th, July 5th, there's a lunar eclipse, which is a supercharged full moon in Capricorn. So there's a double whammy during the next few weeks for Capricorn. So this is definitely, and Capricorn's one of the zodiac signs that have really been thrown a lot of challenges over the past few years. This is something you can definitely handle, but here it is again. It's like something is going to be called to. Hang on, let me say that. The light is going to shine. Let me just say it that way. The light is going to shine, and it might be on something that you have said, Capricorn, or something you've said in the past that you really need to deal with right now in the current situation. And that lunar eclipse, July 4th, 5th, is really going to shine the light. Because I think if you guys have been tuning in each week, you'll know when I talk about lunar eclipses and full moons, it's like a giant flashlight in the dark night sky. So it's like this is a time for Capricorn where something really will come to light around communication or something that's been said, especially with your partner. Now, Aquarius, for you, during this Mercury retrograde period, this is all about routines. We've all got the new normal at this time, and so it's about clearing out the clutter and getting it together with routines. And what are your daily routines? And something that's worked for you in the past with regards to health, diet, fitness, review at this time and incorporate into your current life. I'm used to saying past life, current lifetime. So it's like for you, Aquarius, it's like whatever's worked for you in the past with regards to health, diet, and fitness, it is the time to review that and maybe it incorporated into your daily routine, because you might be surprised by the results and they might work a whole lot better this time around. And then finally for Pisces, is also a water sign like Cancer and Scorpio. So what this means for you, Pisces, is at this time, it's a time for creativity. It's a time to use your imagination. Yours is one of the signs that's extremely creative, very imaginative, extremely psychic. That's Pisces. So, it's a time for not just spontaneity, but it's a time to sort of let your inner child out. It's a time to, especially this year, we've got so much responsibility and, we all have to grow up no matter what age we are. And this is a time for a bit of a reprieve for Pisces to sort of, let the inner child out, be really creative, and just sort of use that creative spark that you have and that you do so well. And, just let it be in some ways and think about creative projects that you've done in the past, or think about how your psychic abilities have really served you in the past and incorporate that into the now, especially because, we're in eclipse season and on the weekend we've got the solar eclipse and the solstice, and then in 3 weeks we've got the the lunar eclipse you know, and a lot of other things going on, which I'll talk about tomorrow and Friday. But it's like, it's a time to tap into that creative spark that you have.
Oh, that's exciting. I wasn't expecting that for Mercury retrograde. Done. Sign me up. I'll do that all day. So thank you so much for sharing all of that, Kelli. It was so much incredible information in there. And for everyone listening, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are like me and you like to have things written as well, you'll notice that in the description when we went live today, I've linked to a free report, and it's also right here on the screen. Kelli has created a free Mercury retrograde guide or report for your sun sign. So go sign up for it. Definitely take advantage of all of this incredible wisdom and information and really guidance that Kelli is sharing. So thank you so much, Kelli. I really appreciate you taking the time to connect with us today. And I'm excited to connect with you again tomorrow as well as on Friday, because we're officially moving into Cancer. And then we've got that new moon and solar eclipse, like you said. So there's a lot going on this week.
Yes. Thank you, Leanne. Good to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too. And have a great day, everyone. Thanks
You
for
too. Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.